So the first thing I think is you have to realize that you're even playing a game, and most people don't realize this. Yeah. Right? So now I can get away from inflation. Because the asset right now is going up by about 55% a year, I can let that asset accrue value, and I don't have to pay taxes on that. It gets me out of the rigged game. But more importantly, it's not just protecting myself from the inflation of debt. It's opening up my mind to realize I was in that trap game, and I don't have to be.
Most people don't even realize they're stuck in a game designed to keep them in line. And even those who do see it often feel powerless, thinking they have no choice but to play by the rules. Seasoned investor and cryptocurrency expert Mark Moss breaks down this setup. Our lives are shaped by a system that profits off our debt, taxes, and lack of knowledge. We're taught to go to school, take on debt, buy homes, and spend a lifetime working it all off. So, how do we break free from these constraints? That's where Bitcoin comes in. In a recent interview, Mark Moss describes Bitcoin as a cheat code, a way to step outside the rules of this rigged system. That said, let us now watch as Mark Moss breaks down exactly how Bitcoin disrupts traditional financial barriers and offers individuals new ways to reclaim control over their wealth and financial freedom. Give us a like to show your support, subscribe for your daily dose of crypto news, and let's begin. Before we continue with the rest of the video, do check out daily 5-minute crypto newsletter with all the latest crypto and Bitcoin news. It's a fantastic analysis of on-chain crypto data and breakdowns, and the best part is it's absolutely free. They'll cover expert predictions, breakdowns of on-chain crypto data, and any breaking news you need to know, all in a nutshell. Click the first link in the description and enter your email to join over 50,000 others in becoming a better crypto investor right now.
So the first thing I think is you have to realize that you're even playing a game, and most people don't realize this. Yeah. The next level of awareness is people realize that there's like a game going on, but it's rigged against them. And then the third level is realizing it is a rigged game, but then I can just play by their rules, right? So we got debt, we got inflation, we have education. We have health, right? So the system for health is again rigged against us. And so we're stuck in this game and we're not able to get ahead, and we're not able to really see how to get ahead. And so, we're here at Cheat Code Conference, and I just talked about how Bitcoin is that cheat code. And the reason why Bitcoin is that cheat code is, number one, it helps us beat inflation, right? So it gets us out, it gives us an asset that's outside of the game, right? So now I can get away from inflation. Because the asset right now is going up by about 55% a year, I can let that asset accrue value, and I don't have to pay taxes on that. So now I beat inflation, I beat taxes. On the education side, what happens with Bitcoin is once you have now sort of removed yourself from that system, you start going, well, wait a minute, like it's what we call cognitive dissonance. Like, well, now that that's not true, what else isn't true? So then you start to question, like, well, what's going on with my health? And what's going on with the world and my relationships? And so then you start to question things, and so then you start to add in your own education. Yeah. Right? And so I think that's why Bitcoin is that cheat code, right? It gets me out of the rigged game. But more importantly, it's not just protecting myself from the inflation of debt. It's opening up my mind to realize I was in that trap game, and I don't have to be. I didn't talk about it today, but it's something I talk about quite a bit, which a lot of attributes to Bitcoin, but one of them is it's permissionless. And I think that for me, and I'd like more people to realize that once I start using Bitcoin permissionless, I can be permissionless. And what do I mean by that? So like, I don't need permission from anybody to do anything. Like, I can learn skills on my own through YouTube and podcasts. I can then take those skills to the market to earn money. Then I can take my money and put it into Bitcoin, so now I'm not controlled by the banks or any government for that matter. I can travel the world and be anywhere I want. I can take care of my own health. I don't need permission from anybody. Yeah. And I can become uncancelable. I can become sovereign. So like, everyone tries to compare Bitcoin against Visa or against the dollar, but it's not about, is it a better dollar? It's, well, what can Bitcoin do that other ones can't? For example, how can I send 35 cents somewhere in the world?
Meanwhile, billionaire venture capitalist Chamath Palihapitiya is predicting a massive bull run that could push Bitcoin beyond the $500,000 mark by October 2025, around 18 months after the next halving event. Chamath notes that Bitcoin's price tends to stabilize initially after a halving, only to see a rapid surge around 6 months in, and he expects similar trends to play out in 2024 and 2025. Together with investors David Friedberg and David Sachs, Chamath notes that increasing global economic uncertainty is driving more investors towards safe haven assets like Bitcoin and gold. Could Bitcoin become a staple in the world of traditional finance? Chamath is confident it will. Now let's return to Mark Moss as he gives his expert insights on how to get out of the rigged economic system and gain financial freedom through Bitcoin.
no way to do that in a fiat system, right? And so what could I do with Nostr that I can't do with traditional social media? And there's a lot of things that we can do. So like, for example, you mentioned Svensky earlier. So Svensky's working on a company called Satlantis. And it's using like a social grid to like bring relevant information to you. I don't want to go super deep unless you want to, but we can't do that with traditional social media today. And so I think that's really where the benefit is. So I'm super excited about it.
No, they're really, really exciting. And I guess with all the conversations, what's top of mind? Like, say someone maybe late teenage years, 18, 19, 20, they're starting out in the career, they don't have much money, they hear about this Bitcoin thing, number go up technology, they listen to you, they feel like it's absolutely great, it's the answer to all their problems in life, and then someone like yourself, me, says, it'd be good for you to get to at least one Bitcoin, and they're like, 67,000, 68,000, that's a little bit hard to achieve. How should they approach life, I guess, as a young person with all the opportunities there are? There's like AI, we are moving into this information age, creativity, YouTube. There's many ways to be able to provide value to the world, but what sort of advice, I guess, would you pass on maybe to the younger generation starting out in their career?
Yeah, so I have a lot of advice for that generation. My daughter's about that age, so I talked to all her friends about this specifically. The first thing I would say is that we get paid for the value we provide. The only reason why anybody would ever give you any money at all is if you provided value to them. And this is where, people say that, well, all the Bitcoin's going to get snapped up and there's not going to be any Bitcoin to go around. There will always be Bitcoin to go around if you provide value for it.
Correct. Yeah.
And so I would just say, think about that. So no one will ever give you money unless you provide value. That's number one. And then when you think about it in those terms, then you go, so then if I want more money, I have to provide more value. How do I do that? I have to solve bigger problems. How do I do that? Well, I have to learn new skills. You see, most people want to get a job working minimum wage, punching in buttons at McDonald's, and they want to get paid more and more money every year for doing the same job, but you're not providing any more value. So I would say learn high value skills so you can make more money. And you have to create value first to get the money. Bitcoin is for savings, but you got to make the money before you can save the money. So for that person that's trying to get to the first Bitcoin, they need to figure out how to make more money, right? What I would say about that is I think what we're seeing today sort of in this information age is a lot of people now have gone in that direction, and there's this big hole of people doing like physical trades, at least in the United States. So plumbers, welders, carpenters, things like that. The reason why I like the digital skills over the physical skills is because digital skills allow me to be free of tyranny, place, and time. Right? So then I can do that work, that job from anywhere in the world anytime that I want. And that's massive. I believe something I push is a term called the new rich. The new rich are those who value time and location freedom over just money. And so by learning those digital skills, those digital trades, if you will, they're high demand, they're growing. I make a lot more money with them, and I can be free of tyranny from that. So I say start there. Learn how to make more money by providing more value. And then, now that you're making more income, turn that into Bitcoin. The greatest investment you can make is in yourself, not Bitcoin. The greatest investment you can make is in yourself first, and then probably the greatest investment you can make after yourself is in your own business. You'll make way more in your own business than you will in Bitcoin. Again, Bitcoin is for savings. I look at Bitcoin and I call it not investing. I think of saving in Bitcoin. But again, you can only save what you've created, right? As far as a book recommendation, I was telling you earlier, like I think of just-in-time learning. So I'm reading all types of books across different disciplines. So I think it's important because you draw all these different areas and you start to connect dots. But as far as like one that's like really opened up my mind, I'd probably have to kind of go all the way back to the beginning. And really, I think probably the two most influential books on me in the beginning of my sort of entrepreneurial career were Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill and Rich Dad Poor Dad from Robert Kiyosaki. Yeah. And those two books just expanded my mind as to what was possible. Yeah. Robert Kiyosaki talks about, I don't have anything to show here, but like 2 cups. And so like a cup, and I can fill up the content. So that's more knowledge or information. I can fill up my cup with information. But what we need is a bigger cup. We need more context. And so that's what those books do. They open up your mind and they give you you mentioned mental models. That's what Think and Grow Rich does. So I would probably start there. Some other good books, I would say, from sort of an economic, Bitcoin sort of centric view. I think The Road to Serfdom is like a book that everybody should read. It talks everything from society, the legal system, the monetary system. So I think Road to Serfdom, I would say from maybe 2 easy books to read. They're like booklets would be The Law, Frederick Bastiat. It's about an hour read. And I would say Anatomy of the State, Rothbard. And while I'm at it, The Uncommerce Manifesto.
That's a fantastic book.
From a business standpoint, one of my favorite books is probably Ready, Fire, Aim.
Yep.
And Road to 100 Million. I think it's a great business book. I think everybody should learn how to have people skills. I think another book from Napoleon Hill, which is How to Influence People. So I'm just kind of rattling off some that I think are super important to read. But I think those probably give everybody a pretty good base to like go from there.
With all of that said, Moss's message is clear. The system wants to keep you in a box, but you don't have to stay there. You can use Bitcoin to bypass the rules, gain real independence, and take control of your life. Don't just play by their rules. Use the cheat code, take back control, and start building on your own terms. In a world full of censorship and restrictions, tools like Bitcoin can protect your freedom of expression, access to information, and control over your finances. Unlike traditional money, Bitcoin is decentralized, meaning it isn't controlled by governments or banks, and it has no middlemen. With Bitcoin, you aren't tied to inflation because its value rises over time, outpacing the dollar. Plus, you don't have to pay taxes on the increase in value until you sell it, which allows you to grow wealth more freely. So, do you agree that Bitcoin could be the cheat code for real independence? Let us know in the comments. Thank you for sticking with us until the end of the video. Hit the like button if you enjoyed this discussion, and subscribe for more insights on building true independence through crypto. See you next time. For more Daily Dose Crypto news, check out these 2 awesome videos on your screen. Click now and we will see you on the next video.